Hello and welcome back to Softcore History. My name is Jake Goldman. I am joined by my two great co-hosts and friends, Rob Fox and Dan Regester.
Not for long.
What's up, guys?
Oh, wow. Rob's real salty already. Salty like
You're the
sea.
salty one.
I am the salty one.
Yeah.
I am the salty one. We are a history podcast. Before I get into anything of this episode, check out last week's episode where Dan gets blackout drunk. Listen to this
what
one.
happened?
I
Sorry, I time traveled.
yeah, I bet you did, dude. We have a Patreon, though. Go to patreon.com/softcorehistory. You get 2 extra episodes a week. One just like this one where we run down a specific topic, and then we do a lot of other fun stuff for the extra episode, whether that's a game show or a voicemail
draft.
episode. You guys did a draft last week.
Nation building draft.
Did a nation-building draft. That's really cool.
Kind of wish you were there for it, but
I would
maybe
have
next year.
I would have been bad at it.
We'll fly in next year.
Okay.
Well, next we decided we need to make a pool of.
Yeah,
we have
probably.
because part of the fun of a
Draft eligibility.
stealing from each other
Yeah.
or taking each other's picks. Yeah.
Yes, that
we
is
just
true.
pulled from human history with our pool.
It's a big pool of people.
Yeah, but
So
sometimes
your pool was every person ever?
Yeah.
when you're
Oh, okay.
not boxed in, it's
Makes it
harder.
tough. Yeah.
Actually, yeah. No, creativity loves limits or whatever that saying is. But yeah, Rob's salty.
I mean, because you're a little low energy because you've been working the farms.
Been working the
The
farms.
fields.
I mean, look at that tan.
Yeah, I'm looking fucking good. I see me in the screen.
I know this is your best life.
Yeah.
So long, farewell
We've alluded
to
to
you, my friend.
we've alluded to it on the last week's episode when you were yelling at me for it. But on the Patreon people know I want to do Oyster stuff for a career. So
and you can say it now.
yeah, I can
because
say it now.
there are people that were
He
listening to this
went to
podcast.
a farm for a week.
I went to a farm for a week. I went to an oyster farm for a week last week, and I worked the farm. And
But you've been wanting to do this for a while.
yeah,
Well,
It's
since
been on
January.
the mind. Yeah.
for a little while, not
But
that long.
We
This
couldn't
isn't like
we
a
couldn't
lifelong
say because
dream.
one of the listeners was,
Yeah.
a former
employer,
employer of your wife.
Yeah. So
and it's
once that stopped being a situation that we needed to possibly be concerned about, we started just going full bore. We had already been talking to some farmers there's only a couple of farmers on the east coast of Florida. We reached out to one, and she told us to come out and try out the work. Because at the end of the day, we knew it would probably not be the best idea to start an oyster farm blind, not having ever done it.
disagree.
Yeah, if you don't have any faith in yourself, sorry.
Yeah.
Dive head in.
I'm
Don't dip a toe in.
I'm so glad I did this experience because it's going to lead to new employment.
Well,
but yeah,
listen up, bucko.
Wait,
Me
you're
and
not
Rob
even
are going to start a competing oyster farm.
put you under.
you're not. So you're going to do all the work,
Yeah.
and Rob's going to do what?
Well, Rob's kids are going to do the work. Courtney, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just be the foreman.
Yeah.
Y'all boys working the oyster fields good today.
But I'll definitely
boss hog it. Just
Yeah.
come out in a seersucker.
I'll definitely
suit.
be on the water with the kids and your wife.
Yeah.
But
You'll just be watered down.
I'll be fanning myself on a porch on the beach, drinking a mint julep.
Yeah. Flip them cages, Rory.
Lord, I'd rather be in hell than out there working them ocean fields.
I will say, on a hot day though, working on the ocean constantly is great because you're just jumping in the
you
ocean.
get a breeze.
Yeah.
guess,
You get
yeah.
a breeze. Yeah.
It'd be-
So
It'd be funny if you were like, oh, I gotta cool myself off, and then a shark ate you.
yeah, this is just the pinnacle of comedy.
Yeah, it's not even ironic because it's not like it'd be ironic if you wanted to cool yourself off and you got in the water and there was like an oil spill and it lit on fire. Like that'd be ironic because you're trying to cool off. I just want you to die, and I don't really care how it happens.
Why is he so mad?
Because nobody wants to handle the finances.
Oh, okay. Well, you can keep me cut in if you want.
No.
I can
No,
zoom in.
no.
We sure aren't.
That's even worse.
Yeah, I could just zoom in.
To be our CPA? No, thank you.
No, I can zoom in
On
You
the
can,
show,
On the
we're in
show.
the studio, and he's like, "What did you guys say?"
Yeah. What? Huh?
We have a no Zoom policy.
I know.
A hard no zoom pop.
I've tried explaining that to multiple people that are like, "What are you gonna do with the podcast?" I'm like, "I don't think they'll let me keep going."
No. You
They-
got to fly in.
Yeah. That's
You can make guest appearances.
Yeah. If I'm ever in town.
I mean, I would like to move the operation to Florida. That's no secret.
But yeah, so we were in Florida. We got in, kind of got situated in the town we were in. And yeah, Katie worked 2.5 days on the farm. I worked 2. The half day she was working, I was talking to the farmer about
So your
marketing.
wife outworked you?
She did outwork me. She did. I'm super proud of Katie. She did so much manual labor. Like she did more manual labor than I did.
What were you doing during that half
What
day?
is this fucking 2024 NBA shit? Like, he's my boy. I know he just eliminated me, but, like, we're tight. Like, no, dude. Bury her.
Bury for what?
She's your competition.
Yeah.
But she's not.
Yeah, you're on the same team, but you still want to score more.
Yeah.
Well,
She's going to get the better contract.
I for one am proud of us.
I know, it's all the same bank account.
It's all the same bank account, baby. Yeah. So I
But
mean,
what about the prenup?
there's no prenup.
Damn.
Kidding me? Married for love, dog.
Stupid.
Yeah, I
Splitting
know.
that oyster farm.
Stupid.
Do you have a prenup?
I made sure to not have a prenup.
Well,
Because you married for money.
because he married into money.
But yeah, man, we were out there like fucking 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we did longer days than you would normally do because they wanted to see like, can they handle it? We got out there like we were on a barge to start the day, just tied to the dock, like culling oysters, which is when you pull out clusters and like break them up into singles and stuff like that, then grading those into marketable sizes.
We don't need to get into
Do you ever
seaweeds.
stop in the middle of the day and you're like, oh, it's been a rough day, and just eat, shuck an oyster for yourself and eat it?
Oh yeah, if you like bust one open and it's like the shell's fucked, you can just eat it.
Like, you only made $13 this hour now.
Yeah.
that's not how it works. There's so many, but yeah. Then the other parts of the day, we were like out on the boat, and like oysters grow in like cages on top of the water. So like one of the things you have to do is like flip the cages. You have to do that in the water. So like I just swam around for 2 hours, like going up to each cage, and like getting on top of it, flipping it over. It was like flipping hay bales basically.
Did you almost step on coral?
I had dive boots on the entire time.
Okay.
Because you just want to. There's oyster shells all over the bottom of the farm, so that would like cut your feet up if you were barefoot in it. But
Cut your soft little city feet up.
yeah, that's right. I don't have those callous oysterman feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like the amount of wildlife that is around the farms is crazy. Like,
Is it, though? Because it seems
the
like there
ocean.
should be
It's like if you walked into the forest and you're like, God damn, there's a lot of animals
a lot
in this
of
forest.
bugs
Like,
in
no
this
shit.
forest.
I'm saying the concentration of wildlife versus like you're talking about the vastness of the ocean. Like, it's not like you stick your face in. It's like, whoa, holy shit! There's a million fish just right here. They're spread out. You know what I mean? It's like it's a wide distance.
Nah,
you can go
Every time I put my face in the ocean, there's hella fish.
so many fish.
Every time I've done it.
Catchable, giant, like good size fish. Yeah. How many times have you stuck your face in the ocean out of curiosity?
Just the once.
It's
He
just
saw
a
what he
good
needed
day.
to see, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, all right, fish, check.
Nah, I mean, like, the only time I've been, like, in, like, scuba diving in Hawaii on, like, my honeymoon.
Well, Hawaii also has one of the most like incredible biodiverse like fish, coral.
Yeah, they were colorful.
Yeah.
Also,
they're
that time
awesome.
you jumped off the cruise ship, we thought you died.
Yeah, I know. Well, weak ones die.
Right.
It's not that hard to live.
And I mean, somebody challenged you to do it.
Yeah, it's called swimming.
They dared you.
Isn't that like, it's like basically you'll be fine, but the chances are you're gonna get sucked under the boat when people jump off.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure like the main reason people die is because like the wake of the boat and like the way the boats like that work is that they are getting sucked under.
That's
they're
probably true.
They're not clearing enough distance off
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cruise.
yeah.
or
They're getting right there.
Yeah, it's just right down the side of it.
Fucking, you gotta be so fucking dumb to do that shit.
It's a drunk move. It's nothing but.
I've been very drunk in my life. Very, very drunk.
Yeah, me too. I was never like I'm gonna jump off a roof kind of drunk though, and I think there are those
Ever.
types of people
Yeah, there
that
are.
You probably could have got me to jump off a cruise ship last week.
I know we could have.
dude, we could have convinced you were on a cruise ship.
Granted,
last week.
You wouldn't have been able to convince me to get on a cruise.
Why is that? Not
Wh-
cruise boy?
I'm not a cruise guy.
They're all right.
I did one for TFM, and I think I hit my limit there.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of individual that goes on cruises.
I think it's a good option for college kids. And
yeah,
you
good
know,
spring break.
Yeah, and like
I don't need to be 33 on a cruise.
I could never go on one again. I'd be fine. I could also go on one again and I'd be fine. I can't have a strong take on cruises because like there's some fun parts.
Going
to
on
it.
a cruise is like experiencing the Caribbean or Central America the same way going on a safari in Animal Kingdom at Disney World is.
better,
Experiencing the Serengeti.
better and safer. It's like that's the safest safari you can go
It's
on.
like 2 days into it, it just felt like the food was off.
Yes, that is definitely a thing. You're like, oh, sick. I can eat whenever I want. You're like, I don't want to eat whenever I want.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
You know, it just felt like
This buffet ain't
It's
buffet.
very Golden Corral.
yeah.
Yeah.
The food wasn't
It's like, oh, cool, a
great
hot
and-
dog.
Right. Like sometimes you can go on the cruise where they have like the restaurants that are like separate from your like meals that you're given for being.
We
on
had
the
that.
cruise.
Had that.
Yeah,
we ate out. That was better.
That was
that's-
really dinner, though.
Yeah.
The cafeteria is more for lunch and
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah.
And that was like warm, cold cuts, and
It wasn't great.
it wasn't good.
Dinner,
And then-
though, I would double up. I'd go double entree.
what? 2 steaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the move.
I would go salad only. Got to keep that.
Then
pool
it was
vibe.
all you can drink.
Yeah, but that's
It
the other
was
thing too. The
seated.
drinks are like they water it down, and the beer is
Oh
like.
no! On the all you can drink, they water it down.
I don't want to keep going back.
There's a bar everywhere you go.
I don't want
On
to
a
keep going
cruise ship.
back. I'm trying to do stuff.
Like, what? Be on a boat with a bunch of bars?
Yeah.
You're already doing the thing.
God.
Well, there's also a casino that me and, fucking Jared had to hit up.
Dude, there's nothing like the cruise ship $2 blackjack table.
It was not $2 blackjack.
You didn't have that?
It was like $25.
I mean, yeah.
we did
they have-
well though.
it's-
And we played with one of the guys from Cherub.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. It was the
Shouts
TFM
to
cruise.
him,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
He didn't even perform though, right?
just there.
He was just there. I didn't understand it.
I kind of respect that. But yeah. So gonna be an oyster farmer. Got to sell my house. Move to Florida.
He's literally leaving the podcast to go farm oysters.
really stoked. Super.
Because we're not successful enough.
Yeah. This is your fault if you're not on the Patreon. So
And just
who you guys
general
gonna
feed.
replace me with?
We don't know.
We don't want to replace you. We're gonna have a revolving door so we make more money.
Yeah,
That's actually really smart. You should do that.
but we'll pay him.
Yeah, but just not.
It depends who it is.
Depends who it is.
Hopefully they won't listen to this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so of course I did something where I wasn't here and on vacation, as the guys say. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about what I did. And
Okay.
history
The
topic
history
related.
of oysters.
We're doing that. We're doing it. I'm going to my well, baby.
In the on the Plesiotoan era,
From
from the primordial ooze.
actually, the ooze was an oyster.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it.
I was honestly waiting for somebody to do something prehistoric.
Well, we'll
How about
talk.
Jurassic?
We're not prehistoric is pre-Rome.
No, prehistoric is
pre-
anything
end
before
of-
writing.
Oh, you're
Literally anything before writing is prehistoric.
right. Because history starts when writing does.
Yes.
I've kind of
Yeah.
done a dinosaur episode, but it was the Bone Wars. That was for the Patreon.
yeah.
I mean, I did
That was the 1800s, though.
I did prehistoric because I did the fucking all
Caravan
the
Tepe.
fucked up animals that lived in North America before humans got here.
Yeah, and Karahan Tepe is prehistoric as well.
That is technically, but I mean, like, yeah, in terms of like big, scary.
Well, actually, no, because Atlantis was around in 1200 BC or 12,000 BC. Yeah, before it went
Mhm.
under.
Yes, when they had all the technology, the hyper tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So, it's ancient is pre-fall of Rome, right?
no, ancient is.
What is?
Oh yeah, pre-fall of Rome. is
pre-fall,
ancient.
right? Yeah. Okay.
And the Middle Ages is from the fall of Western Rome to
1500s.
Yeah, the Renaissance.
Yeah, Dark Ages, right?
yeah.
Because we lost a lot of books then for some reason.
Yeah.
What was going on? Why did we
Nothing-
lose all
nothing.
those books?
Nothing.
Just chill dudes being chill bros,
Yeah.
trying to get some land back.
People aren't trying to read all the time, dude. Give
Yeah.
them a couple centuries off. God.
Yeah, just vibe. Rome fell. Take a break. We'll regroup.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, it's officially May, and that means a lot of things. It's Dan and I's birthday month. Give me that.
Okay.
Horns up, baby. Taurus
Okay.
life.
I guess.
What, you don't like your birthday?
We turned 33 this year. It's not.
I like my birthday.
Do we get anything with that? Nothing comes with that.
No.
We've already hit the rental car.
That's the last one.
No, president.
Oh,
Yeah,
34?
President's 35.
35. You can run
35?
for president. 35.
Hell
Which
yeah.
I will.
Yeah, why not?
Everyone should. Everyone should do it when they turn 35.
I'll be like Vermin Supreme with a boot on my head.
It'd be funny if someone who ran, if you ran for president and like you just kind of considered anyone who's never run for president a virgin, like they're just like weak, like they haven't done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
in politics. It's like a
You haven't spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get elected for
hundreds of
office?
thousands for president.
Well, we're talking about our budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just a
I'm
really
being realistic. I know it's they're going to spend $2 billion this year on their elections.
It's just a really savvy Instagram marketing campaign.
Yeah. It's like something smarmy, like not smarmy, like sarcastic and like, hey, tired of 2 people? Shouldn't there be a third? Pick me.
People are trying to say that about RFK right now. I'm like, he has no shot.
No.
He has no shot.
No.
Not to mention his voice. Oof.
I think you got to just literally, if your budget's that small, you got to just literally advertise with like porno or something.
You got to go
You need
all
to be the
out.
OnlyFans candidate.
Yeah.
There was that guy who made a sex
there was
tape,
the congressman, and he did a lot better than he should have. He lost, but he did better than he would have.
Yeah,
he
but
filmed a porno.
He was so stiff.
What?
He filmed a porno.
He was bad at sex.
What year was this?
This was
This
recent.
was like
Oh.
6 months ago.
He was in New York. He was running for New York congressional district, like in the city, and to show that he was on the side of sex workers, he flew to L.A. where it's legal to shoot porn or whatever, and shot porn with a porn
With like his
star.
assistant.
No, it was a porn star.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it a couple times.
Oh yeah, I was just going in for the story. I really fell for it. His
and he
assistant.
was like, he had a real stubby wiener,
Mm.
and like almost like. I can't even describe how he thrust. It was like
He
imagine-
didn't, right? So like when he was doing doggy, he would move her. He was just kind of stiff as a board.
Yeah, and like he wouldn't. It was like,
Which
he
I mean,
wouldn't
throw it
thrust
back.
His hips. It was like when he was on top, like missionaries, like he was moving his whole body.
His whole body
kind
moved.
of, yeah.
Not just the
Not
thi-
just his hips.
And like the whole
He didn't
body
have Latin
movement back
hips.
and forth would move the penis in, and you know what I mean.
It was a bad stigma for white men.
Oh.
He did us bad, just dirty.
Oh.
Really lived up to some type of stereotype with no rhythm.
Yeah. Dancing. Not known for it.
I can dance.
River dancing, sure.
It made
But
me feel good about my banging.
My own performance.
Oh my god.
God's here compared to this guy, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that later. Just so I can understand. But yeah.
Me and Rob have seen it enough.
Okay. Well,
I'll watch again.
Okay. Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend's around the corner, and of course, a bunch of uneducated
Evergreen
plebes.
content, dude.
It's May.
It could be any month.
It could be any month, but well, okay. The show's over.
If he was
everything's
a
about-
bicycle, you are a dude throwing a broomstick into the fucking spokes.
Yeah, you ever go to the ghetto? They do that. You ever
Here
ride
on our ghetto set,
Oh my god.
Dan just put me on cinder blocks. But yeah,
No, in your childhood though, you never had somebody throw something in your spokes.
No.
I didn't grow up where you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
didn't.
true.
Eat shit over the handlebars.
And then try to jump you.
No, I was never fearing of being jumped when I was a child.
That must be nice.
It was great.
There were certain bridges you weren't allowed to cross.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I understand that.
if you try to go over that bridge, you're gonna get your ass beat.
That was a big thing in St. Louis. I told you don't cross that bridge without permission from the St. Lunatics.
Is that really a gang in St. Louis? The St. Lunatics?
That's Nelly's gang.
Is it?
Nelly and the St. Lunatics.
It also just wouldn't be gangs; it'd just be older kids. They would just like rob you.
It's just fun to beat the shit out of younger kids.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now,
That's
when did you start doing that?
I didn't do it. I didn't beat
Hmm.
up the
Break the
youth.
cycle.
Yeah.
Except I might move them forward.
Now you're going to start assaulting minors?
Yeah, why not?
It's way easier when you're a minor assaulting minors.
Yeah, but they're just so small that I could just. It's easy pickings.
Okay, so assaulting minors is a very broad spectrum thing, too, by the way. That as much as that could be for violence, that could be for sex, that sentiment that you just said.
Right, but just physically.
No matter what
Nothing's
you're
changed.
no matter what you're talking about, he's right that it's way easier for him to do it now than
Yeah,
it was then.
but the consequences are way more severe is what I'm saying.
If they live.
Yeah.
Wow.
Live to
Okay.
tell.
Okay.
Or if they just, maybe they're not rats. Maybe they live by code.
Sweet, you're done. You're like, you a rat, Braden? You don't look like a rat, Braden.
I'm gonna rob Rory.
Rory's a rat.
Oh,
Rory narc on you so
certainly,
hard.
yeah. Yeah.
Rory goes up to my wife all the time, and he's like, Dad, that bit me.
What? You bite him?
No. But he just says I did to get me in trouble.
Oh, so he's a liar.
Oh, man. He's not even a rat.
He's emotionally manipulative.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, me and the wife are on the rocks now because she thinks I'm just biting Rory all the time.
Maybe you should stop biting him.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, for lack of a better way to make this evergreen, it's May, and a bunch of uneducated plebes who don't know about culinary history are going to start saying an adage that has been around since before the beginning of the Roman Empire. That adage, of course, is oysters should only be consumed in months with the letter R in their name.
You could have just said that. There didn't have to be this whole preamble.
I'm sorry, I wrote like an article. What? Joel! He's not here though.
Just
give me
get him
shots.
drunk.
Get him
Yeah.
drunk. Yeah, he just.
Knock him out.
Yeah,
Is that not true?
it's not true. No, it's
Okay.
not.
Because what is it supposed to be? So it's basically winter, right? Is the R months?
Cold months, or the
Yeah.
R months, and there's some credit to it. It's a lot of people think it's like you're gonna die if you eat an oyster in
Yeah.
July. You're not. You're absolutely not. You can totally do it year round. But I mean, I'm
That's-
sure everyone's heard this.
It's
Though.
not true. My friend Mike,
Was he allergic to oysters?
he was.
Yeah. I don't think the R month would have mattered much.
But like,
Someone
pour
in
one
Saint-
out for my
Someone
guy.
in St. Louis did die last year from eating an oyster. Got Vibrio or whatever.
Yeah, Vibrio is a thing for sure, and usually that
I don't understand why people rent houses from them.
so dumb. That's dumb as shit. Verbo jokes.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Verbo always reminds me. I just think of Vibrio.
It really is. It's
I think
Vibrio
of
without eyes.
Yeah.
It's just Vibrio without eyes. And there's like multiple kinds of Vibrio. There's the kind that'll like food poisoning. And
Is
then
that like an
there's-
Airbnb competitor?
Yes.
Yeah, it's older than Airbnb. VRBO's been around for
And
vacation
they
rental
fumbled
by owner.
that.
Yeah,
Granted, Airbnb fumbled it.
everyone's fumbled the B&B situation.
It's not great.
But yeah,
May they never sponsor our podcast.
sponsor it, dude.
No.
Why?
I ride for hotels.
I stayed in a hotel when I was
Hotels
there.
are much better.
I was like, you know what's really cool? Not having to clean this place when
and
I
then
leave.
get charged another $400
For cleaning. It's like, what? You want me to make the fucking beds and throw it in the wash and like clean the sink, and then you're going to charge me $400? So you do what exactly?
Also, when I'm at a hotel, I'll just leave the water running,
Yeah.
like for a shower.
Dude, hot
Oh
shower.
boy.
Infinite hot water.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best.
Plus, there's something about hotel mirrors that they're crafted in a way that makes you look more attractive.
Oh, it's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lighting's always great at a hotel.
like you look at yourself in a hotel mirror, dressed, naked, whatever, and you're like, God damn.
I got it
Damn.
today.
It's like the Hollister mirrors, right? Or whatever the store was that was making the fucked up mirrors that they got sued for. Maybe it's Abercrombie.
That's the same company.
Then yeah, definitely
Yeah,
that one.
I don't remember because I worked at Hollister. I don't remember the mirrors being.
There was this whole thing, man, where they were like slammed for their mirrors made women look better than they normally do. And they were like, that's manipulative to get people to buy the clothes. And I'm thinking like, what? So they want you to feel good in their clothes?
Right. I will say this at Hollister, and it's true at Abercrombie too, but the lighting is low.
Yeah.
Low and warm.
Yes.
So you're going to look pretty solid. But the thing that changes is that, like at Hollister and Abercrombie, but especially Hollister. I was talking with my wife the other day. I worked at a Hollister in mid-Missouri in college. Hollister, like, I wore an XL at Hollister when I was 165 pounds.
Yeah.
So, like, you'd get these little 15-year-old mid-Missouri girls coming in, putting on what they think is, like, a medium. And
It's
but
really an extra small.
It's really like an XS, and they're just like,
Yeah. What is Don Mazzetti says fitness is 95% lighting.
Yeah.
yeah.
1,000%.
That's why everyone thinks I'm not in shape. You look at me on this YouTube right now, and people call me Post Malone.
Yikes, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is true.
Like,
I mean-
see me in real life.
Yeah.
You do light the set yourself.
Yeah, he does it to challenge himself.
Mhm.
He likes to
Yeah.
keep himself on
Yeah.
his toes. But yeah, while the R month myth is one that people will profess to you until they are blue in the face, as a matter of fact, it is anything but. But to understand why that exists, we will cover some of the more interesting details of how we believe we began to harvest oysters, how their status as a delicacy has shifted throughout our history, and how their oyster harvesting, how over-harvesting led to a pretty tumultuous battle between oystermen and watermen in the mid-19th century called the Oyster Wars.
Well, I already chose my side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're son of a waterman.
I'm a waterman. His
Uh,
father before him was a waterman.
Were oysters like lobster for a little while? Was it only for like hobos and poor people and prisoners and shit?
Slaves in
Slaves,
particular.
yeah.
Yeah. But it was like
man, these slaves won't stop banging each other.
that's also a myth we're going to cover today too.
They don't make you hornier?
We'll talk about it.
Then why do I always jerk off when I eat at True Lux?
That's just because it's good lighting.
That's true.
You gotta
Last
use the
time
bath- you do it in the
I
bathroom
was just
mirror?
at True Lux, and I had to crank one on.
Oh, in the back, dude. And there's like a line. Some
The
guys.
handicap stall is just
Oh,
backed
it's
up.
insane! It's so annoying too because you'll be in line and everybody knows you're. And some guy will like be rubbing himself next to you, and you'd be like, "Dude, there's no warm ups."
Is that why? I was
no
about to say
warm-ups.
that. Is that why the sign that says "No head starts" is in there?
Yeah,
Yeah, they know.
no warm ups.
Yeah, But yeah, to begin, the oyster's been a part of the human diet for a long ass
I
time.
assume predates history.
Oh, by a lot.
Somebody accidentally stumbled across one on the beach, smashed it open.
Or they see an otter do it. I bet they saw an otter do it.
It's likely from animals.
Yeah.
Watching animals, that's what we think. But archaeologists have found evidence of humans eating them as far back as 164,000 years ago, which is long. Modern humans have only been around for what we think is probably about 300,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a pretty significant. That's
Also,
at least
probably useful tools. The shells.
The shells, absolutely. Yeah, they could be sharpened and used as
Make little
knives.
spears.
Yeah, if you've ever stepped on an oyster shell when you're walking around, or a mussel or anything like that, or clam, that shit's
Yeah.
sharp. It'll cut your feet.
That
they
was
always-
actually in college. I went to like this Tony Robbins ceremony, and he made us walk on broken oyster
Is
shells.
that the motivational speaker guy?
Mhm.
Don't they talk about how zebra mussels always get in the water here?
Oh, they're so sharp, dude.
And people talk about like they'll step on. It's just like knives,
I've
like in the fucking lakes and shit.
the lake I grew up on had mussels, not zebra mussels, but just normal ones. And yeah, you'd get like when you touch a sharp knife that's so sharp you don't realize you're cutting yourself with it. Like
Yeah.
it gets you, and you're like, oh damn, and then you're like, oh damn, it went a lot deeper than I thought it
Right,
did.
and then
yeah.
you have to cut yourself again to just see if it really hurt.
yeah,
You got to cut in to see how deep it went.
yeah. Just you got to pry it back.
And it
look
takes
at
like 4 or 5 times before you're like, okay, like I understand the knife is pretty sharp.
right. That's how we all test.
I
the
actually
sharpness of things.
recently did that with a very sharp knife. I stabbed the fuck out of my finger, and it's still is not healed properly. It's just gonna be like that forever now.
Yeah.
At work?
I was trying to get some.
Was it one of the Montana knives?
No, thank God. That would have just cut my finger off. I think.
It's gone.
Yeah, like it went in. I think it hit bone though. Like it still hurts touching right now, and this is 4 months ago.
Jesus.
I was trying to get like
probably
it was
have
one of
nerve
those El
damage.
Yucateco fucking hot sauce things, and you know
Yeah.
how where the plastic goes up over the top.
You're trying to.
I was trying to get. I couldn't get it off with my nail because I bite my nails. So I got a knife and was like, and I was just gonna swipe, and it went through too fast and quick, and or I was going down, and it just fucking stabbed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
Just
for
because
sure.
of your impatience.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
couldn't
learned a
have-
valuable lesson.
You wanted that
I
hot
didn't.
sauce.
I've done it again since then.
The last
Used the
time I
knife
cut
to-
myself open
This year.
was after the first season of Westworld, and I was unemployed from Grand X the first time. And I just wanted to see if there were gears, you know?
Yeah, the cords, things like that.
Like, am I real?
They're called tendons in a person.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, there are gears, but they're meaty.
Weird bioengineering.
Yeah, but now I'm more mechanic because they had to fix it.
Yeah.
yeah.
and now
You're
I have
actually more
plates in my-
I'm a little
cyborg.
mechanical. I got some metal in me.
I got some
Yeah.
plates in me because you got your face broken.
Yes.
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 Now,
By
does
a
your
fist.
wife get like? Does your wife just? She can't believe whenever you cut yourself, like that you did it again.
At this point, she's just like,
Of course you did.
finish the job.
Anytime you accidentally get hit in the face, do you hear like a ringing inside from the metal plates?
They're not big enough for that.
He just picks
I
up
don't-
radio stations.
Yeah, I do pick up the weather will affect it. Left one's a little droopier sometimes. There are days when I'll wake up and I'll be like, "Ooh, it's droopy today."
When did you get your face broken?
17.
Where?
Where?
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a buddy also get his face broken in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. I mean, I did get like cold cocked, like wasn't looking.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, but
Was this? Sorry, was your buddy a horse accident, or did he just get punched?
No, he got punched in the face because he was talking to some guy's girl
Oh,
in New Orleans.
like laying down game, or just hey, how's it going?
Oh, he was just laying game down there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like he was like, "Hey, baby, why don't you dish that small dick little pussy bitch that definitely can't beat my ass? Fuck you, fuck you." And then he turned back and he's like, "I'm gonna eat your pussy so good, that little fucking gay boy."
I mean, you're pretty accurate.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened.
Little gay boy ain't gonna do shit to me, bitch.
I've seen.
Bitch, I'm never gonna look at you again, bitch. Anyway, baby, let's go. I got a fat dick. And he then, yeah.
I've seen people try to lay game down like that in front of other people's like boyfriends. Like,
He did it unknowingly.
yeah,
You
no,
know, he
I've
didn't
seen
actually
it.
know
I've
who
seen.
the fucking dude was.
I've seen dudes
I was
do
actually
the shit to Rob, like shit not to Rob, but that shit Rob was just doing.
Those were I recited my vows just now.
Yeah.
And
Who's the other guy?
Courtney's dad. I was just turning back to him.
Great job, Rob.
Yeah.
He's just thumbs up in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. The current assumption, you're right, though, is that we learned from other animals how to eat them. But
Do you think the first guy just cut the shit out of his stomach? Like, did you just do it on your stomach like the otter? He's like, ah! Gah! He dies, infected immediately. Yeah.
He gets just Vibrio everywhere. But yeah, we built different in that we were pretty inept at actually harvesting the raw meat like our animal kingdom counterparts. And it's not really for lack of like tools, more so just like lack of specialized tools for that specific thing. We were making some pretty like rudimentary knives and stuff like that.
Hand axes.
Yeah, you need like a really narrow little like shiv to get in
Which
there.
we definitely didn't have, yeah.
No. But yeah, so we lacked kind of the knowledge and the skills. However, unlike other animals, we had fire. So
No.
yep, a tradition as old as living in caves, oyster shells remains at human sites from the Mesolithic period show evidence of scorch marks from fire too. So as far back as we found them 164,000 years ago, we found them being burned too. And
What's funny, I think a lot of people maybe don't realize about like prehistoric humans and the archaeology we do on them. When like we go into a cave or whatever, we're going through their trash.
Oh yeah.
Like we're going through their fucking trash. And by the way, they left a lot. Like they were just like the worst litterers. They were just like done, bleh, 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 like just throwing shit everywhere.
Well, it's all gonna break down anyway. It's all like
I know, but
yeah.
they just anything. They're just like done.
Yeah, the only things they really wouldn't do would be like bury bodies or shit in their house.
Yeah.
That would, like everything else, whatever. They're just leaving it around.
It's like going through a relative who died's house.
I've done that.
It's all trash.
or just like if you have a PI and you hire them to stalk somebody, they're gonna go through the trash.
It's like, cool, a Russian nesting doll. I'll definitely use this.
One day this can all be yours.
Some fine china that we'll never use.
China is the weirdest thing that I'm glad isn't like continuing in society. Like people I know don't have a china cabinet.
Yeah.
Like there's no
My
need
parents
for it.
still do, but I don't.
But like when did they ever use it?
I bet they put it in the will.
Thanksgiving.
Did they use it on Thanksgiving? There's a
Yeah.
lot of people I know that they've never seen their
I
china
guarantee they put it in the will, and they'd be like, "We're gonna give this to Thomas."
used. Tom gets the china.
Good luck with that. I mean, I
That's
don't know what
getting
he's gonna use it for.
Microwave burritos, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what congratulations, you inherited a collection of lead painted plates. Like they're all covered in lead paint.
Lead's making a comeback. We've talked about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so humans ate oysters by roasting them over open fire and letting their shells pop open from the heat. This by far is my second favorite way to eat them because the salty juices cook in like a little self-contained oven. You guys have had them this way at my house. When we do the roast.
Yeah, your little open fire. Are you gonna throw one last oyster party?
Probably not because we want to sell the house and we don't want the backyard to get fucked up.
From what?
You don't trust us?
It's actually I trust you guys a lot. I don't trust 40 people in the backyard though.
Stomping down.
No,
the
I think we
grass.
need to. I think we need to frat that gets kicked off campus. Your house.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Put
burn
some
it
holes
down?
in the
Just
wall.
like fucking punch holes and yeah.
I'll try to find a wall that needs demoing.
If we burn it down, though, you get that insurance money.
I don't think that pays out as much as if I sold it.
I think that's not true. Depends on how much you insured for.
Well, now that we're talking about it, it definitely won't pay out, even if it's an accident. That
Oh,
shit'll
we
get-
should have done this behind a paywall.
Yeah, definitely. Because you know they're not paying for that.
And
No,
now if your
yeah.
house burns down, they're going to think you burned it down on purpose.
Exactly. I'm screwed.
So you better be careful, bud.
Katie, unplug the everything. Anyway, as oysters grow in shallow waters and could be easily picked up, it was easier to collect oysters and shellfish than to hunt for meat because oysters stay in one location their entire lives and do not move. So fossilized oyster piles from early coastal societies demonstrate that oysters were an important part of the human diet for thousands of years too. Like as far back as we can go, any ancient prehistoric people sites by coastlines have piles and piles of oysters.
I mean, it's you want to burn the least amount of calories you can while collecting future calories.
Yeah, for sure. And it was kind of something too that they could like. It was almost like a bank, basically, where it's like, okay, well, we didn't get elk today or whatever they're hunting, or like a big ass fish or something like that. But hey, those fuckers that's going to supplement our protein needs at least for today.
But back to my point, this is why I always order Detroit style pizza to my house. Just thick bread, and I don't move. I make them come inside, put it on my lap.
Feed it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's good. I like that. So
I eat it on the toilet.
you just go straight to the
It's
end.
efficiency, yeah.
Yeah. And you just wait for 4 hours.
I'm the perfect human. have mastered it.
That's just a Wally person, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They never address it, but they're shitting in those flying chairs.
They have to be.
They're not getting up to shit. Look
No.
at them.
Well, like unless there's like a transfer, they're not making a transferable thing. That's a chair. That's a car.
Yeah.
That's a toilet. That's a bidet. That's all of it. But yeah, while the oyster was an easy supplement of protein for the majority of the human era, as we began to harvest them, their perception as a delicacy begins in the 13th century BC with the Greek Empire. And that delicacy kind of understanding of oysters stretches all the way through the Roman Empire, like until the fall of it, basically.
Okay.
So oysters were so important to the Greeks that the Greeks became the first to cultivate oysters instead of just wild harvesting them. So this was done by fishermen who would basically just grab all the broken pottery pieces where they could find them. Like, if anyone broke pots, they'd be like, hey, bring those down.
Yeah, which I assume happened fucking constantly.
Oh, yeah. It's just an all-you-can-break
In fact,
buffet.
in ancient Sumer, so to go back to the trash thing real quick, I'm sure this happened in Greece too, to be honest. So in ancient Sumer, they had like some really rudimentary like pottery that they use for everyday shit. It's one of the most basic symbols in cuneiform. It's just a V.
Mhm.
There's these basic bitch bowls, just baked mud bowls that you use for everything. Like imagine a good comp might be like the really thin cardboard boat you might get at a restaurant.
Yeah, like a food truck or something like that.
At a food truck,
yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah. So they had these constantly, and they would just use them and eat them.
They were
Like,
like
it
the
was-
paper plates.
It was paper plate. Yeah,
Yeah.
like use it, eat it. They find them. Like again, I almost want to do like the history of littering because human beings just have spent most of history just being like fuck it and just throwing shit wherever they feel like.
One of my favorite scenes of any show ever is in Mad Men where they're having a picnic on the side of the road.
Mhm.
And at the end, and this was like, my mom was like, no, that's how that shit happened. Like, once they were done with the picnic, they would shake off the quilt, fold it back up, and just leave the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like,
The
no.
world is your movie theater.
That's right.
So like, it is a very new thing in human history, or like a baseball stadium or something. You just leave like peanuts and 20 beer bottles, and like it's a fucking
That's
nightmare.
someone else's problem.
It literally
I'm
is.
sorry,
yeah.
creating jobs. All right.
It really didn't even become a problem until single-use plastics became a thing. Because, like, the bottles and shit, people would be like, oh, fuck, I'll pick that up. That's 5 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, or what, a penny or whatever it would have been back in the day.
Don't you
But,
get money for the bottles?
not for plastic ones.
No,
You don't get money for
think
shit
so.
here in this state.
you're right.
You do for cans
You can get money for cans in Texas?
in a lot of states.
I'd be shocked if you do in Texas.
I just know in college, I spent a week in Michigan at my friend's
Michigan's
lake
the
house,
best. Yeah.
and they do 10 cents instead of 5 cents. And so it was like there was like 10 of us there, and we would buy 90 for the whole week every day. We'd buy 90 Natty Lights, right? 3 cases of 330 racks. We would fucking kill them every night. Keep all the cans, take them back to the grocery store, recycle it, and it was for the rest of the time it was buy 2 get 1 free because all the cans paid for 130
It's a
rack.
little
of Natty.
rebate there.
Yeah, that's
Life
nice.
hack.
That's great. And it should be like that. But
It was glorious.
yeah, I bet. But yeah, so they would scatter the broken pottery pieces where they knew oysters grew, and we still do that to this day. Actually, we'll set up like artificial structures near wherever we think oysters will grow, and they'll attach to them and they'll grow there. So they were the first ones to start cultivating that way via colching architecture. The pottery pieces would then be collected and transplanted, like I just said. But oysters were also so important that the shell of spent oysters were even used to cast ballots and voting processes across Greece. So that was kind of your vote. Like you're putting it into a certain
Box.
basically.
Yeah.
They'd count the shells. Besides voting, the Greek myths also show how important oysters were. The Greek god Aphrodite was born from the sea in the form of an oyster, and this is where our first oyster rumor comes from. The idea that the oyster is an aphrodisiac actually comes from that association with Aphrodite. Of course,
Because people started painting a naked lady standing in an oyster shell,
yeah,
and they got aroused, and they were like,
must be the oyster.
"Yeah, can't be the naked lady."
No, that seems a little sus to be attracted to a naked woman in
Yeah.
Greece, but especially as a man. But yeah, the oyster is probably doing it for him. But this also leads directly into our month adage, which we know at least comes from. We know that the month adage predates ancient Rome, actually.
Really? So
Yeah.
it was like cold months.
Yeah,
Has to be cold months.
yeah. And we know a lot about it actually because of the text of no one other than the politician Cicero. Actually talks a lot about this particular R-month myth.
Interesting. I mean, but back then, Cicero fucking wrote down everything.
Yeah, he did. But he was also like, if he had a question and he couldn't find an answer for it, he found out.
Yeah.
He'd go find out. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But
Also, maybe getting kickbacks from the Oyster lobby.
Maybe.
oh, he was exposing the Oyster lobby. We'll get to that too. But there are some reasons why you really wouldn't want to eat wild oysters during Roman summers. Here are two. And this applies now for wild oysters, at least. Number one, wild oysters spawn in warm water. This makes their meat runnier. So, they're saving up in the cold months all the glycogen and stuff. That's what gives them their fatty, texture and their taste.
So they're bigger and better in the winter.
In the wild ones, at least,
Okay.
are in cold
Now,
water.
did they eat them raw?
Yeah, they'd eat them raw. They would eat them raw.
But
Raw oysters
nothing on top?
Were,
For me personally, oysters are a vessel for the toppings.
Tabasco and
For hot
horseradish.
sauce, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Horseradish, you have a little bit of maybe some cocktail sauce.
that's where I like a little lemon.
Lemon
That's that too. Cocktail sauce makes me want to vomit.
Cocktail
I
sauce is
fucking
fine.
hate cocktail sauce.
If it's like a big Gulf oyster without any real taste, I'll throw cocktail sauce on it. But otherwise, I'll just do a little lemon, maybe a little.
You don't like a shrimp cocktail?
I love a shrimp
No.
cocktail.
I like the shrimp part. The cocktail sauce disgusts me.
Do you not like horseradish?
I like horseradish.
Do you like tomato sauce?
No.
You don't like tomato, so you don't like ketchup. Or
Ketchup disgusts me.
do you like barbecue sauce?
I like barbecue sauce.
Okay.
You like marinara?
It's fine.
You're not like a big red.
I'm
sauce
not a big
pasta
red
guy.
sauce pasta
Okay.
guy, yeah.
Okay, well that explains a lot then. All right.
I like a good butter on my noodle.
Or like
Good
a
butter on your
carbonara.
pizza.
Yeah. No, I'd rather have I don't like Alfredo either. I'd rather have a really light garlicky, buttery white wine type of pesto, that type
Like
of
a clam sauce maybe
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
And red sauce is I don't like red sauce on pasta.
You want to split some clams after this?
Yeah.
Clams are good. I like a good clam.
There's nowhere in town to go get some clams, though.
There are plenty of places in town to get clams. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Not like you can't go to a bar and get clams.
No, you can't there's not like a clam bar. There's plenty of oyster. Dude, a clam bar is I imagine that like a downgrade from an oyster
it's
bar.
an East Coast thing, I think.
Sounds like
It
a
definitely-
lesbian bar first off.
The clam bar?
Clam bar.
Oh, that's a real clam bar.
But you can go to a dive bar in Delco or somewhere in
Get a
New
bucket of
England.
steamers.
You get some steamers.
Yeah, steamers are good, man.
That's an East Coast area. Which state has the clam pizza? Connecticut?
Yeah. Yale's big on the clam bake.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the second reason why you wouldn't want to eat oysters in a Roman summer, and for a long time, this applies across all human history up until very recently, is that people can be greedy. So if you harvest a bunch of oysters and plop them on a dock in the heat, some are going to die. That's
You
just
sure
how it
wasn't
works.
a sexual euphemism?
What do you mean?
You never eat Roman clams in the summer.
You never find a stranger in the Alps?
Just hot.
Yeah.
Stinks.
Little musty.
Yeah. I could see that. But no, it wasn't a euphemism. It was very much something that people believed. But yeah, when you harvest them in the summer, some are going to die. But that doesn't stop merchants from trying to get returns from 100% of their crop dead or alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in Rome, oysters were a great luxury, and they were served as an opulent appetizer before most Roman feasts. The great Roman chef Apicius is credited with finding a way to safely pack fresh oysters from the coast on their journey from the sea to the actual emperor's castle or whatever the main hall is in Rome. However, even at this time when it appeared oysters could finally be transported safely for consumption, the case for the R-month rule of thumb not only sustained, but it got stronger. People started being way more adamant, don't eat them in the fucking summer.
Right. What happens if you eat a dead oyster?
It's one, you're gonna smell it.
Yeah.
It's gonna stink, but you're
Gonna get sick.
gonna get
It
sick.
consumes your soul.
Yeah.
Your soul's now in that shell.
Oysters have bacteria around them and stuff like that, but if you keep them at the right temperature and transport them safely, which is widespread, it's one of the most tracked things in the food industry, raw shellfish, you're going to be fine. Most of the food poisoning happens on the handling in the kitchen, back of house.
Yeah.
Some kid that doesn't give a fuck, he drops one on the floor, puts the bag away, he's like, oh, an hour later, he's like, oh, that's by the heat lamp. Shit, let me get that back in the bag, and that's how someone gets sick.
All right.
But yeah, this really mystified Cicero. He's like, what? Like, because he would see all the rich Roman people eating them year round.
Right.
But he's like, why are they saying we can't eat them in the summer? Like, why do all the like plebes and stuff think you can't eat them in the summer? And
Like
they
challenge
really,
accepted.
yeah. So he was obsessed with finding out why this was going on. So much so that he wrote a treatise on it called De Oysters. He wrote an entire treatise on oysters.
Okay.
What he found was just like today, rich boys were getting scammed when they went on vacation. So wealthy Romans often went to Pompeii beaches during the summer and feasted on oysters while staying
Buying
at hotels.
timeshares.
Pompeii City Beach.
Yeah, that was
Wait.
just PCB.
Merch.
The original PCB,
Yeah.
Pompeii City Beach. Oh, dude, you could totally do like a fun like island scene with like a little volcano and
Yeah.
a palm tree,
We need the merch.
and like a dude just jacking off on the beach. You know that one guy that
Yeah,
they
we
caught
know.
jacking it?
Everyone
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the guy in the lawn chair or the beach chair. He's just cranking.
You know what's crazy about that I read actually today is that it was so hot that the people were turned to glass.
What?
Yeah.
The carbon in their bodies
Yeah.
turned to glass?
It turned to glass. So that guy was fucking like porcelain sculpture.
Because the water in your body like boils.
I don't know.
Well, the heat, I don't even know how that's like. Ooh, you wouldn't even hurt from that. I feel like you'd die instantly. if you
Yeah. You wouldn't feel it. It's like
See, I was under the impression they suffocated
I think everything happened
all at once.
so fast. Yeah.
It's just, yeah. You did suffocate, but it was because you were glass and your lungs didn't move.
You know, death by volcano, not on the list.
I mean, it's just like getting
Of how I
nuked.
want to get.
You know what I mean? Like it's like the people who died at Hiroshima, like right then, they didn't feel anything.
No, it was just, whoa!
Yeah.
That's it.
What the?
Yeah,
Bigger than
exactly.
your thumb.
But yeah, so as described before, the best and freshest oysters were packed and shipped to Rome, where they commanded the highest prices. Only the oysters of the poorest quality remained at the waterfront, where they aged pretty bad, and anyone in the know that worked around there wouldn't touch them.
You're right. Like, no.
Don't eat those. But that didn't stop the beach hoteliers from trying to make a buck and sell these rancid oysters to their wealthy inland guests on their
Oysters,
vacation
clams,
stays.
and cockles.
Very much so. Very much so, yes. So, according to Cicero's oyster writings, the taste of these oysters at the waterfront were so bad that even in their best condition, they smelled like total shit. To make matters worse, though, the hotel owners would attempt to freshen up their rancid oysters with condiments of strong flavors to cover the taste. So, unsurprisingly, these wealthy, drunk as fuck Roman frat boy people became violently sick when they ate oysters on their summer beach vacations.
Blame it on the alcohol.
I blame it on the oyster here because some asshole's like, it's been sitting on the dock for 2 days, but I need to sell this.
Yeah, but if
fucking
someone's
thing."
fucked up and they eat your oysters, they're
Yeah.
not going to blame the oyster.
Yeah,
They'll
it's just
probably
some-
be like, oh, I got too fucked up last night.
Yeah, it's covered with like they were putting like copper sulfate in it. They were covering them in garlic and stuff like that. So drunk people are just like, yeah, give me the food. But the summer beach sickness caused by greedy hoteliers was not understood until 400 years later due to Cicero's detective work because he was figuring this out. This has been going on for years. But by that time, the damage was already done and could not be unwound, even by him. The summer oyster sickness was
Cicero, by the way, I think died like, gosh, 100 years before Pompeii happened, before Vesuvius erupted. Something like that.
because I remember he was
Do you think he knew?
Maybe 120.
like really at his highest point in like around 60 AD, I want to say.
No, because Vesuvius erupted in the 70s AD. No, Cicero was the same time as Caesar and Augustus.
Oh, I thought he was like,
I think Mark Antony had him
did he die in 60
assassinated.
AD?
He died in 43 BC. So
Oh,
Vesuvius,
man.
110 years.
Yeah, I'm off
Before.
on Cicero then. That's okay. Yeah, but that's pretty interesting. Like, it really was just like a fucking spring break town, Pompeii.
Yeah.
That was
Well, it was. I would call Pompeii. Well, I don't know the level of wealth, but it feels like a Destin.
I was just about to say it's Destin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
seems like
definitely-
a unnecessary shot at Destin.
No, it's not. He's saying it's not like Panama City Beach. It's more like Destin.
Which people can still go to for spring break, but it's also kind of like
They're not going to let you do PCB shit
right.
Well, you can't do PCB shit at
at
PCB.
anymore either. Yes.
I mean,
RIP.
growing up, I thought you were rich if you went to Florida on vacation.
Yeah, we didn't think that.
No,
I don't think it
because
anymore.
we
I
lived
don't
there.
think anyone did. You go to Disney World, you
Well-
think you're rich?
Well, we lived there.
You see all the fucking
To a lot of
poors
American,
that go to
to a lot
Disney
of
World?
American
Disney World is
families-
expensive. Those are they're
for
poor.
sure, but
Those
it's-
people are poor because they chose to go to Disney
They
World.
spend their
they're
entire
not they're
they
not
save up
fiscally
for like
responsible
3
people.
years to go to Disney World. take
Yeah,
their
I know.
kids.
That's
Yeah.
why they're poor.
It's not worth the 3 years of savings.
It's not.
It's not. Like it's cool.
Go to Six Flags and
Yeah.
just call it a day.
Yeah,
It's not the same.
It's not.
I've heard, and I don't care. Also, I don't really give a fuck about going to the Millennium Falcon or whatever dumb shit they have there
Say
now.
that to your wife now.
What?
Tell that to your wife.
I know. She's even like, let's just go to Disneyland. The kids aren't going to appreciate it.
Disneyland's fine, and you get to go to California too.
Mhm.
But I mean, Disney World is really truly an immersive experience. But
It's pretty sick when you go to school there, because then you could just
go.
go
Like
whenever you
UCF
want.
Day or some shit.
They did have UCF Day at Universal.
But I mean, like you could just roll up as a Florida resident. And be like, it's like, all right, it's $20 today.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of
Or
go
like
in.
a season pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like on a Wednesday or some shit.
Yeah, like off days for sure. We'd take off sometimes and just go.
Get fucked up at Epcot.
But
That's pricey.
dude, that is pricey. You're talking like $15 a beer, 13
Like
countries,
$100 and some dollars to get
Yeah.
in.
It's like a $300 bar tab. No, maybe $400 bar tab. But if you're paying to get to Epcot from out of state, like you're fine for
Who cares?
$400.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this falsely constructed R rule went viral, so to speak, and was passed down through the centuries as an inherited best practice. It even survived in various forms in the 19th and 20th century American state laws for a very similar reason. And that reason is also greed, because before refrigerated train cars, oystermen would still ship oysters from the New York coast to the Midwest via train, including in summer months where they would obviously go bad.
Mm-hmm.
So greedy business owners in Chicago, wanting to get a profit, would cover up the taste with condiments you could find at any seafood restaurant today. And there's a reason you see them served still with oysters today. Like the condiments you get with oysters now are because of people trying to cover them up way back
From
in
the
day.
train
That's why you
cars?
see,
them being gross and
yeah. So that's why you see like cocktail sauce, horseradish, malt vinegar, mignonette, that kind of stuff. That was used to mask tastes of bad oysters. And now it's just like, it actually turns out it's just good too with the flavor of the oyster profile.
minus the cocktail sauce. I'd rather take a hot load
Really?
than
Then have
cold cocktail sauce.
that is an insane take to me.
Like cocktail sauce is not that bad.
No, it's not.
It makes me want to fucking puke.
That's weird. You'd rather take a hot load than eat cocktail sauce.
Well, on an oyster.
I mean, that hot load's not really going to taste like anything.
It's
It's just eating a load on a load, but you don't even know which is which.
Yeah.
we obviously don't know a ton about the Dark Ages after the fall of Rome. Like I said, some people burned some books or something. Who could say?
Who?
I'm not going to call them out today. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get bullied if I do that. But we do know at some point after the fall, oysters eventually resurge as a common food item across all classes, culminating in the golden age of oysters in the mid-19th century. So in the early 1800s, oysters were still only eaten by the wealthy. However, a surge in production by the mid-1800s meant consumer prices for oysters dropped substantially.
Who were producing? What areas of Europe in particular were
London, like
Really?
English coastline had a lot, but it was a really big United States thing. Like the United States was producing, I think, like 80% of the world's oysters. At that
Where?
time.
Wow. But there's oysters all over the world, right?
Yeah, for sure. Some just taste better than like Japan has their own oysters.
I know people shit on like Gulf oysters sometimes. Someone was trying to shit on Gulf oysters the other day.
Gulf oysters are fine.
Yeah, I forget who I was with because it wasn't either of you two. Because you guys would have backed me up on it. I had to convince someone that Gulf oysters were good.
They're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like I mean, some are like
What makes you think I would rat for Gulf oysters?
people's belief system.
You eat them all the time here, I assume.
All the I'm not like huge on oysters. They're fine.
But when you do eat oysters, they're probably
Gulf
oysters
oysters.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of places, if you don't know, if they don't tell you what kind of oyster it is, like, it's a black magic or a Wellfleet or something like that, it's more than likely a
Yeah, but
Gulf
my
oyster.
palate is trash. I can't really tell the difference between a whole lot of wine.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly.
Like
Who can?
$40 bottle and $110.
And the other place I
$100
usually
bottle.
eat oysters is fucking New Orleans, which is also on the Gulf.
You're getting Louisiana Gulf oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're covering it in cocktail sauce, too, or whatever, then you don't...
Tabasco.
Tabasco,
typically, yeah.
you don't
Tabasco's
need
the
it
move.
to have, like, a really fine... You don't need to have a fine palate. You just want like you said, you want it as a vessel, which is totally fine. Put it on a cracker, whatever. Eat it how
Yeah.
you like.
Dude, my wife,
spicy hot load down my throat.
Yeah.
my wife always gives me shit because a lot of times for like lunch, I'll literally just have like a taco. Like I'll take rotisserie chicken, put it in a tortilla, put some cheese on
Just
it,
a wrap.
and eat it. And she'll be like, "Wow, how can you eat the same thing every day?" And I'll be like, "This is why I know you're a fool. Because you're not paying attention to what I'm doing. Do you see that shelf in the fridge that's got 20 different bottles of fucking hot sauce on it? I use a different one every time. Therefore, the meal is different every time. This taco is simply a vessel for me to eat different hot sauces."
I am a really bad at just if I see a sauce, I'm like, ooh, I buy
Same.
it.
Oh
I-
my
I
God,
have
dude.
too many sauces. Yeah.
Also, if you want to be kind of fit, you have to typically eat the same thing over and over again.
you change the sauce up. You
Yeah.
have to.
A lot of chicken and rice, a lot
Yeah.
of potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do. It's a turkey sandwich or a fucking chicken taco.
I usually do steak and eggs a lot.
Steak and eggs are good.
I don't like eggs. I'm out on eggs.
See, eggs I have to eat with other things.
Or
I
actually,
know
how's this? No,
they're incredibly important to eat because they're one of the most like nutritional or
Efficient
nutritionally dense like
efficient
foods out
protein.
there. Yeah,
Good cholesterol.
I'll say this
yeah.
actually. I am out on what I can no longer do because I've had it too much living in this town with breakfast tacos and everything. Scrambled eggs. I'm just out on a fried egg. I could do any day of the week. I just fucking can't do scrambled eggs.
I go real knuckle dragger with scrambled eggs. I like them with ketchup.
Ugh.
I think I'm out on ketchup.
Ugh.
I like ketchup.
Ketchup is foul.
You just
It's
don't like
not
tomatoes.
foul.
Ketchup on eggs?
Yeah,
It's
ketchup.
just a
ketchup
ton
on
of sugar that I don't need.
Dude, have you
I'd
ever had
rather
it without sugar in it? It tastes the exact same. It's so frustrating. It's like, why is this in here?
Yeah,
Ugh. Ugh.
make your
ketchup
own.
on eggs.
Make your own ketchup.
Ketchup on scrambled eggs. I don't put it on like fried eggs. I don't like
Ew.
that.
I would
I would rather go hot sauce.
rather have my face fucked by a dog than eat ketchup on scrambled eggs.
Now if there's a good salsa or something, that's better.
The fucking difference between putting salsa on scrambled eggs and ketchup on scrambled eggs is the difference between living in a fucking chateau and living in a trailer of an old woman you raped and murdered.
Yeah,
and
but
then
they both
you
have
stole
roofs.
that trailer.
They both have roofs, do they not?
Ugh. Yeah, I guess they both
both
have tomatoes.
roofs. Yep, that's right. That's the roof.
There's such
Sometimes
a
you're
huge fucking difference.
Sometimes I don't know. It's because that's how I ate them when I was a little kid, and sometimes like I don't do it every time. And I'm like,
Did you grow up in a trailer? You get ketchup on your eggs?
No, I didn't grow up in a trailer. I just like ketchup on my eggs. What can I say? What can I say?
That is pretty white trash.
That's
Whatever.
hella white trash.
That's okay. But yeah, for reference on the price drop, in 1885, oysters cost 3 cents each, which would be about 73 cents today. And then they dropped to 1 cent each, which would be a quarter today.
Okay.
So that's
Damn.
incredibly cheap. That's way cheaper than any eggs or poultry.
When you're getting
or-
specials at like a Trilux or like any seafood restaurant now, it's maybe like $2 or $3 an oyster.
If you're getting Gulf, you can still get them $1 a shuck sometimes. On like a half
fucking
hour.
Joe-
Joe's
used to be-
Crab Shack or
No, dude, if you go to like Salt Trader, you can get $1 Gulf oysters.
okay.
During happy hour.
Salt Trader is the that's seafood, right?
It's Jack Allen's Kitchen seafood
Okay,
restaurant. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Jack Allen.
Yeah.
There's
it's-
definitely like a tier of restaurant that I would not trust to do oysters.
It's really, I think it's more the vibe. Like when you walk in, you just know.
You don't do Reef Month at Outback?
Yeah, I'm not doing like a
Mum's
6
hot
oysters,
oysters.
at
Yeah.
Red Lobster.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a Red Lobster oyster, but just because of the people there do not care about the handling of the
No.
seafood.
No.
Yeah, they're like, we bake bread. We bake biscuits here. And
seafood is you're playing a dangerous game when
got-
you are.
you got to know it's at least decent quality. Like, I mean, I've been into some rat hole places in New Orleans. I'm like, give me the oysters. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, send them over because you're right.
Those
there.
people are of the sea. You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
are.
Like,
They are at the port.
Those
right?
they're water people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But that low cost made them a standard part of U.S. and European diet due to abundance and low cost. Really big on, again, feeding slaves with them, too, because they're like, fuck it, feed them the oysters. Like, they're cheap as shit.
Yeah,
you
okay.
know? But after the Civil War, the oyster harvesting industry exploded, leading to a booming oyster industry, specifically in the Chesapeake Bay. That's where most of the world's oysters were coming from after the
Interesting.
Civil War. Yeah. By the late 1860s, the stakes of the oyster industry were high. Now get this, a captain of an oyster boat could earn $2,000 a year at a time when most Marylanders earned $500 or less a year. So they were making 4 times the average of like people in the state
Right.
for doing this oyster work. This would be equivalent to like $75K today. And like the average income of like an oyster boat captain now, which that's kind of a bygone, like a boat captain really is what we're going to use as reference. That's about $50,000 a year.
Okay.
So they were
Boat
making
captains only make $50,000 a year now.
on average. I mean, that's a wide
It's
spread.
a small boat though.
It's a wide spread. Like it.
That would explain why that guy hit that bridge, right? 50 grand.
There's no way he's making $50,000.
Come
I don't know if
on.
that guy's making 50
That
grand.
dude's making 6 figs easy.
Oh yeah, no
yeah,
question, no
like
question.
that size
Probably
boat.
maybe $500,000.
I'm saying like probably like a 40-foot boat kind of situation where you're captain of like something like that.
If you make
know?
a big oopsie like that, you gotta pay forward, right? You gotta pay for that bridge.
Yeah, you got to help build it.
Certainly goes on your resume.
I don't think you work anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like honestly, could they have really stopped it? Didn't the power go out?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Ask the CIA.
Oh, did they do something about it?
I don't know. Just ask the CIA.
That's a dumb thing to
Everything's-
say. The CIA doesn't. They don't answer.
Everything's an op.
Everything's conspiracy, huh?
Everything's an op.
Something with MK Ultra.
Yeah.
Anyway, there began to be a war between Marylanders and Virginians over Chesapeake Bay water usage. The bay teamed with oystermen, merchants, immigrants, and to the dismay of a lot of people in proper society, the booming industry of oysters also brought gambling and prostitutes because so many more people were working the bays at this point.
Yeah.
Like there was
Just
this
need
town.
something to do.
There was a town on the Chesapeake Bay that was like a nothing town, and the guy that like was kind of like he owned the town more or less.
Yeah.
He was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, we're on top of a bunch of fucking oyster beds."
Yeah.
That went from a nothing town to a town that employed 600 different charter vessels.
Listen,
Or not charter vessels, but just oyster
if
vessels.
they go hand in
Yeah.
hand, I am buying stock in oysters because, I mean, gambling's nationwide at this point.
Yeah.
Essentially, prostitution is too.
Is it?
I mean, there's a lot of sex
OnlyFans.
workers now.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Okay. I
You're
thought
a
you meant,
sex worker if you're doing OnlyFans.
I mean,
not necessarily, right?
no,
Like,
you are.
Even if you're doing like, oh, this is how I make this pottery on OnlyFans, you're still a
Ain't
sex worker.
nobody subscribing to pottery or OnlyFans, except for a very specific class of people who get turned on.
No matter what, it's always fetish, right?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Even if the act is
Yeah.
by itself not sexual, the subscription to it is.
Yes.
So
It's the only way you get out of poverty. Selling your butthole and gambling on
Yeah.
the Cubs.
Genitals are recession proof.
that's very true. They're actually they stand alone from the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Local saloons. This is a local saloon in Virginia. They had a boxing ring. That was the site of no holds barred and rough and tumble conflict. So they were doing that kind of fighting.
Yeah. So bet on the fight too.
Yeah. And this would be like between watermen from Virginia and oystermen from Maryland, Smith Island. So like watermen got pissed off because like one, the oyster people were just like wrecking their shit all the time, like the work they were doing on the coastline. And then also just like fishers and stuff were like fishermen were considered watermen as well. And like they would be pissed off at the oystermen and stuff. Everyone in the seafood and like sea industries all hate each other and think they do the best work at this time.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
And they were the new kid on the block.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
like you didn't do your time.
Yeah, you're not catching a
You
fish.
hadn't
You're,
put in your time.
I could
yet.
totally see a fisherman too being like, "There's no skill to that. You're just pulling them out of the fucking."
Listen here,
Ocean.
Greenie. You're not even going out in the water.
You're just pulling them up. You don't even have to trick them.
You're just coastline.
Yeah.
You're a coast kid.
One colorful character was named Haney Bradshaw. He was a Smith Island Methodist priest who fell from grace during the oyster season to become one of the scrappiest dockside brawlers on the eastern shore.
Good
So this
Lord.
guy spent like one summer working an oyster boat around prostitutes and gambling.
And
was
lost faith
He's
in
just
God.
Fucking Cricket from It's Always Sunny.
like, pretty much, yeah.
He went from a priest to just like a hobo fighting on the docks.
Yeah.
For a hot meal.
Yeah. Not even hot. Are the oysters hot?
No.
Yeah.
They're cold.
get
You gotta,
raw
you gotta
oyster.
cook them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like a fried oyster too, like fried oyster po' boy. That's great. It's good stuff.
You like
Love
the
me a
bread.
fried oyster po' boy.
I do like the bread. A nice baguette.
I'm okay with po' boys. You can keep them.
I will say this for any po' boy or whatever. I do this all the time when I make a sandwich because I like to have a baguette. You gotta, I scoop.
You gotta scoop the bread out.
I take most of the bread
It's
out.
the worst city for Zion Williamson to be drafted by.
Oh boy, yeah.
That's why he's so fat.
Yeah.
If he got drafted by like Utah, He'd already be better than Michael Jordan.
I think you can understand a lot about people in Louisiana when you start looking at the principles and like foundations of their diet, which is like mud bugs and cream sauces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fried dough.
And fried dough, yes, of course.
And a lot of times they like to jam the mud bug cream sauce inside the fried dough.
Yes, a little bit of crawfish etouffee
Yeah.
on top of a fucking piece of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But the other wars that were going on in the oyster scene in the mid-1800s were tongers versus dredgers. So tongers worked in shallower waters.
I don't know how, but it sounds that both those terms sound racist.
They sound racial, yeah.
Yeah.
They sound
some
very
sense.
loaded, don't they?
You're a tonger or a dredger?
But yeah, tongers.
Like, we'll just walk up to somebody today and be like, "What are you doing here, you tonga?"
Just a gangs of New York type fights.
They did this on the water. So dredgers would be the people that like threw the giant chain nets down and
Yeah.
like, dragged the bottom, whereas tongers would go along the like kind of the coastline and like
With
use
tongs.
large tongs
Yeah.
and pull them out.
Little Nancy boys.
Yeah, for sure. The dredgers could pull a lot more. They made more money.
I'm a tonger.
But
Fuck them. I'm a dredger.
but like over
I'd be a tonger.
over
Yeah.
time.
You're for sure a
You're a
top.
I'm a
tonger. Yeah. So over time though, enough dead bodies started showing up in the Chesapeake Bay between the fights between Virginia, Maryland boaters, the fucking normal watermen versus the oysters.
That oysters started growing on their bones. It's just a reef of bones.
No, I wish. That would be sick.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, the oysters don't need. Actually, oysters filter 50 gallons of water a day. One oyster will.
Yeah.
So
That's actually our what's our band? What's our metal band called?
Ladder of Bones.
Yeah, Reef of Bones is our Aquaman 3 soundtrack album that
We
we,
get a little-
score completely. Yeah.
We get a little experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a whole like underwater level album.
Bones.
Yeah, but so these guys, you know, they're killing a bunch of people. They're definitely over harvesting, and like people are starting to realize, like, shit, the oysters are getting smaller.
Yeah.
That they're harvesting, so they're not giving them time to like spawn and regrow. That's something that like Native Americans actually knew to do. Like if you look at Native American oyster mounds, like they were eating only big oysters. They knew not to pick the little ones because they're like we need that for later. So they were.
That's why they never built a society that could fight off the Europeans. We're locusts, baby.
Mhm.
Yeah, capitalist success does kind of come on the back of.
So
raping
there's no
Europe.
like
Yeah.
veal
Yeah.
for oysters.
Oyster.
It's just a tiny oyster. It's like
It's so tender.
it's just like a little tiny slip.
yeah.
I mean, people really do now in the market like a small oyster, like
I mean,
a
think
a
how
small
caviar is, right?
Yeah.
Well, caviar is an
I like a big fat boy oyster.
you know, a good big oyster is fine, especially if you're like cooking it over a grill. It shrinks up a little bit.
You're telling
gets
me
smoky.
you don't want to take a whole spoonful or just like a jug of oyster veal?
Oh, I would.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That
I don't
sounds
want to have
delightful.
I don't want to be the shucker.
Just put it all in like.
Oh no, I want the guy to do the work though.
Yeah.
You want
And
like a big
I would
oyster.
take pleasure in seeing him open them all
Yeah.
just a
little
tiny
babies.
little.
one at a time.
It's just
Be like,
like,
I got nowhere to be.
just like a cocktail fork trying to pry open these tiny oysters.
Do you know that's how calamari came to be a thing in the United States?
What? How?
We fucking overfished something else, and they had to. The U.S. government had to figure out a way to. I'm really paraphrasing this because I read it so long ago, but they just had to figure out a way to just replace it with other seafood while the fucking fish that we were.
So now we fry and
slaughtering-
eat aliens.
Yeah, basically. So, but they were like, nobody's gonna eat squid or octopus. They're gonna be disgusted by the aliens, right? So they're like, let's class it up called calamari. We'll make it,
Call it
it's
Italian,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
It's
fry
Italian
anything.
food. Blah
I
blah.
mean,
blah.
we'll
So
fucking
they-
eat Rocky Mountain oysters. So
I have eaten Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, they're good. They're
fine.
You gay?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Me too.
What's up, man?
dog.
But yeah, so in order to like kind of combat the over harvesting and the violence, the state of Maryland responded by creating the Oyster Navy in 1868. That was led by Captain Hunter Davidson. And
Can you imagine like surviving Gettysburg and then getting murdered by a tonger?
dude,
Like-
I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
A guy with tongs got me.
Who's just like, I pick oysters the right way.
Yeah,
Like you just freed the slaves, and then fucking some guys like, you pick oysters wrong, but
some
you're
guy
fucking
that goes
dead.
by like Jack Shore just comes in and
Gets you in the eyeball with his tongs. Yeah, dude, fuck that. But yeah, so they armed Captain Hunter Davidson with a howitzer on his boat and a bunch of other
Hell
guns.
yeah. That's, by the way, for people who were like, it's never been legal to own a cannon, Second Amendment. No, it's fucking been legal for most of American history to own a fucking cannon.
To own whatever you can get, pretty much.
Wait,
yeah.
Doesn't that come with every KA house?
A cannon, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Which I believe Micah was a part of exploding one at Mizzou.
Like blowing it up backwards, or
Yeah,
what else
so
are you gonna
the
use the
K-
cannon for?
The KA house, it was the year before I got there. The KA house had a cannon in the yard, as most KA houses do. And a bunch of KAs, I believe Micah was amongst this party, were like, let's fire off our cannon. So they just jammed it to the brim with fireworks and gunpowder. So that. And I told you guys about the sparkler bomb before, right? How if you take like 100 sparklers and wrap them up with duct tape, it just becomes a fucking bomb.
it's a flash bomb. Yeah.
Well, they did that, and they lit off the cannon, and the cannon exploded off of the base and flew across the street, through the roof of the apartment building across the street, and down through 3 floors before
And it hurt
finally
nobody?
settling. It didn't hit anyone. The legend, I don't know. I think this is true. Like, I think you can go look at it in a newspaper, but I would have to double check. The legend is that it went through a ping pong table while people were either playing ping pong or beer pong. Like the cannon just through the ceiling, boom, through the ping pong table.
Can you
through
imagine
the
you
floor.
hear that first initial bang? You're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, wait 2 seconds, and then you hear,
Yeah.
You think you're getting bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's fucking nightmare
They
shit.
did not get kicked off for that.
That would be instant kickoff when I was in school. Yeah.
Prove they did it.
Prove it was us.
Could have been anybody.
It's just a bunch of like scared white
Could've been
kids
anybody
in
with
front
a
of a
cannon.
yard, just like, oh, what? But yeah, dredgers began moving into waters that Tongass considered theirs. Everyone was resorting to guns, and watermen were turning up dead in the bay. The Oyster Navy of Maryland was just downing dredger boats left and right. There were pirates going out in the middle of the night and over-harvesting then.
Again, like, you survived the Civil War to get murdered by an Oyster Navy.
It's just a guy that doesn't serve in the military, but like he's
No, this
in
is
it.
what gets you ready for World War One. Like
Yeah.
I did my time
Yeah, in the Oyster Navy.
fighting the goddamn Maryland Navy.
Yeah. But yeah, Virginia also pardon me, Virginia also tried to do this. They got embarrassed a lot. Like I think it was like the governor of Virginia was like, "Oh, we're going to stop all these over harvesters." And one of the most famous things that happened was there was this legendary like oyster pirate guy. They saw his ship. They had 3 ships to go get him. They didn't know that the oyster pirate had already bailed from the ship, and he left his wife and 3 daughters on board. Though
Yeah.
they were just like kind of living on it. He was on shore for some reason, and the wife and the 3 daughters were like, "Fuck, the cops are here," so they start sailing, and they outsailed the Virginia Oyster Navy.
Hell yeah.
In front of a bunch of spectators on the Chesapeake Bay, so much so that the guy lost re-election. Like they were just like, "You got outmaneuvered by 3 girls and a maiden." Like, or a matron. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you guys don't deserve funding anymore. But one of the worst things that would happen was like captains of these oyster boats were, of course, not above stealing immigrants coming into Baltimore.
Yeah.
So once on the boat, the immigrants had their passports and papers taken, and they faced beatings and withholding of wages while they worked under grueling conditions. So,
What is an immigrant but a person you can steal and make your slave?
I don't know if that's applicable across the board.
An immigrant's whatever you want it to be.
In 1860?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, especially then. Mid
Yeah.
1800s.
I mean, dude, when people were coming over during the Civil War, we were like, hey, welcome to America. Have you heard about the Army?
Should join
Lot
it.
going on right now.
It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
#1 job creator in America currently.
Yeah. Everyone's in it. Everyone.
They actually, I believe that's the scene in Gangs in New York. They're like, 3 hot meals a day and blah, 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 blah.
That's a good deal if you're a fucking peasant.
Like,
Yeah.
pop in. I mean, honestly, if you're Irish, like some guy, you have no job lined up, especially if you can somehow finagle not being cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you can be a pogue, a Civil War pogue.
It's a good gig.
I mean, you
there's-
still might die of dysentery since, like, fucking disease killed most people in the Civil
Or if
War.
you cut
But
yourself shaving.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a reason armed forces recruiting centers are still very active today. Yeah, you want to go to college for free?
And that reason is Top Gun.
That's right.
That
Right
was
into the danger
like
zone.
after watching that movie, I was like, yeah, that's propaganda.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Duh.
but it worked.
Every war movie is military propaganda.
It was dope.
No,
I don't even like Top
Well, not
Gun,
like-
but the new Top Gun was good.
Not like Saving Private Ryan and shit, but
actually, you know who said that Saving Private Ryan directly allowed America to do Iraq and Afghanistan?
Who said that?
Oliver Stone.
Really?
He said that Saving Private Ryan got Americans super horny for war.
It's like we need a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He like hated Spielberg for it.
Damn. So Spielberg planned 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. Spielberg.
Makes you think.
Yeah, but over time, the overharvesting did start to get cold, and that took a long time. That took well into the 1900s to get that going. Now, most oysters, 95% of oysters consumed are farmed. They're not wild harvested. So it's really important, actually, because oysters, we started to figure out, it's like, man, all these beaches are eroding. It's because all the oyster beds were preventing that from happening.
So, I know, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, when they started, like,
That was the
breaking
thing in
the
New
Chesapeake.
York, I think, right?
Yep.
New York Harbor was having serious problems because they just fucking destroyed the oyster beds.
Yep, they actually just started, not just, but like they have a project called the Billion Oyster Project.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to reintroduce 1 billion new oysters into the bay.
I see your play. I see what you're trying to do here.
What am I trying to do?
important. I'm out here saving the beaches or something.
Oh yeah, no, for sure I am. I am actually the most humanitarian person here.
No, you're trying to make a play for New York. You're trying to get a plot of land in New York
Fuck
to
that.
harvest.
Are you kidding me?
The
No.
Hudson.
No way, dude. Those oysters take so much longer to grow in the cold ass water up there.
Yeah, but it's not going to be you. It's going to be the Goldman division.
What?
You're
You're making a business plan for me right
making
now.
a power play.
No, I have zero. Dude, I have zero.
Oh, I
intention
just
of
want
power
the
play.
simple life. No, dude, you're going to fucking crush the competition. You're going to be cutthroat. And you're going to start a monopoly on the business on the East Coast.
Yeah, you're acting like you're a simple oyster farmer now. We're going to go visit you in Florida in like 3 years. I'll be like, there's a lot of Hondurans in your house. All of them keep asking me where their passports are, like I know. And
Weird amount of dead bodies
they
around
really
the Goldmans.
want to leave. Yeah, I
It's like,
noticed
I have
your
this,
boat
like-
has a cannon on it.
It's like weird, Jake. Your house is like this one really big house, and you have all these tiny, tiny, tiny little
Yeah.
houses far away from your big house with a big field.
And he's drinking a mint julep.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing the thing that you said you would do at the top of the episode.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like,
bringing it full circle.
yeah. Hey, keep on turning them cages, boy. Like, let's, yeah.
Turn of the good cages.
Oh,
like-
I do declare.
We have to
I
be
can't
like,
meet a
Jake,
case
you
of the
got to stop
neighbors."
calling them mini homes. They're not mini homes.
They're tiny homes.
Yeah, tiny homes. Yeah, please stop calling those slave quarters tiny
They're my
homes.
Chiquita homes. Yeah. No, but most oysters are farmed now, and it's really good for the beds, the oyster beds being revitalized. It's awesome. It creates even more filtering for water, and it's going to create more sustainable protein sources as well too once it continues to grow. Like, but just for reference, like the amount of harvested oysters we did in 1860, like 1860 through 70, you were having about 15 million bushels sold in Maryland alone per year. That's 150 million oysters a year
Yeah.
being brought in. The turnaround, like compare that to the oysters that were harvested around 2000 or so from the Chesapeake Bay. There was a resurgence in the Chesapeake Bay during this time. We were still only harvesting 1% of what the volume was 100 plus years ago.
Can I just suggest to you what you should name your boat
What's that?
for when you're oyster farming?
What's that?
The alarm clock.
Why?
Just getting those boys out of bed.
The
Getting
oyster
all those
bed.
oysters out of
Yeah,
bed.
come on, wake up.
Yeah.
Time to get slurped.
Here comes the alarm clock.
Yeah, wake up and get slurped, dog. That's how I want to be woken up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the drill sergeant
Why?
getting the boys out of bed. Same thing.
Oh, true.
Same concept.
Got to play some taps. What'd you guys learn today?
I learned maritime law to kill you when we have our competitive oyster farm.
Okay. What are you going to name it?
What do you want to go with, Rob?
What, the maritime law?
Mm-hmm. No, our
your
own
competing
farm.
oyster farm.
Oh, let's just call it Jake's demise.
People be like, why is it called that?
No, it'll also be called Goldman's, kind of like how in New York every pizza place is Ray's Famous Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
We're just kind of
Come on down to
Gold.
Goldman's farm.
Goldman's Oyster Farm? That's
Yeah.
actually pretty ironic considering oysters aren't kosher.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not. They're filter feeders.
Extremely not
Yeah.
kosher.
Yeah.
I learned,
Almost worse than bacon, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I learned you'll take any opportunity to just justify your life choices. You spent an hour. I learned you'd waste an hour of our time justifying your life choice. I'd say an hour 20, but we wasted the first 20 minutes of your time, really.
Yeah, you did.
Just interrupting, just bicycle spoking you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but kind of justified at this point.
Yeah,
Who's Hitler?
you.
Yeah,
It's 2 weeks in a row.
you're leaving.
For leaving.
2 weeks in a row. I was Hitler last week too.
You're
For
gonna-
leaving. For
You were
leaving.
his Hitler last week. You're
For
Unit.
leaving. Same
We're now
reason.
going to refer to it as who's the Jake of the week.
Who's the Jake? That'd be good in like 60 episodes from now. Some rando that's not me. It's probably way
Wait, why is
funnier.
it Jake? Yeah.
Why are they calling it that? It's like, oh, you gotta be an OG for that. Like,
Or fuck, what was Hitler's actual name?
Adolf.
It was
Hitler's name. I looked that up when you were looking it up. Hitler's last name was always Hitler. His dad was a bastard and originally had his mother's last name, but was legitimized and took the correct name before Hitler was born.
It was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was like Schecken something.
Scheckenstein or
Yeah,
Scheckenstein.
he
Scheckelstein?
he
was
was
like Scheckelstein, yeah.
Scheckelstein? I think that sounds like one of us. Yeah, that's it for our episode today, guys. Thanks so much. Check out softcorehistory.com for merch. Please leave a review. Even though we hit 1,000, we still need more.
Well,
always
we need,
do.
and we will read them eventually. This episode ran kind of long, and last
we get the
episode,
2,000 reviews. We do a show from Jake's Oyster Farm.
Yeah,
It's not my oyster farm that I'm going to be working on.
From Jake's Oysters Farm when he kills the owner.
That's
Takes
not
over.
going to happen.
I like how you're just like, yeah, I got to leave the podcast to be a field hand.
Yep, I do. It's farm work, man. It's hard ass work, bro. I'm really proud of my wife.
What
for
if you
being able
fall
to
in
do
love
it.
with the farmer's daughter?
The farmer doesn't
Like how we talked about on our TikTok that made a bunch of country boys mad.
That was
Oh.
just you.
The song "The Farmer's
The
Daughter."
fact that you know so much about that song.
I didn't
In
know
country in
that.
general.
I think I missed that bit. What happened there?
It's just the
That's-
country song "The Farmer's Daughter."
Go look it up.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare scenario where a drifter field hand ends up drilling and marrying the farmer's
Oh yes,
daughter.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it is a nightmare.
And people were like, "You just don't. It's just city people not understanding." Like, no,
No,
I
I understand
understand
drifters.
that it's bad. It's always bad if the hobo you hire to bring your cattle in at night starts fucking your daughter. That's bad 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, it's just that you like the song because it's from the perspective of you, a hobo. Like you are very much identifying with the
He bathes in a creek.
yeah.
That was like the sticking point for you. You were like, oh, he invites him in for a hot shower, feeds him, offers him reliable
I
work.
was skipping town on
Yeah.
a railroad car.
No, I mean, Jake's doing
Murdered
what I would
6
do
and
if
got
I
real
had no
far.
other option.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I want to.
Yeah, that's the odd part.
I want to do it. I enjoy the work. I get to be on the boat. Or
You
in
just
the
don't
water
want
all
to do
day.
email marketing anymore.
I just don't want to do anything with a computer like that I have to just sit in front of all day. That shit's a nightmare, bro. Looking at a screen all day.
What are the charges you're trying to avoid?
Charges?
Yeah. Well, you're skipping town.
None pending. None pending. That's right.
This
Zero
is something you would do
charges.
if you were about to like have a whole new identity.
Yeah. You're farming oysters in Zihuatanejo.
What? What does that mean?
That's where Andy Dufresne fucks off to at the end of.
Or like
Oh, Mexico?
yeah.
Yeah.
rather than you working at a Cinnabon like Saul Goodman, you're working at an oyster farm.
Oh man, if I was working at a Cinnabon, man, I could actually be a Cinnabon guy now. I think.
I bet you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
That'll be. I mean, you might need a second job with what oyster farming pays. So
Either way, it's my main next week, and I'll make sure to read all the reviews that you guys left because you left some really funny ones.
leave more.
But we
We'll
just
read-
have been we ran long, and obviously last week ended chaotically. So
Yeah.
but
we had to end it.
there's some really good reviews we're gonna read about.
Yeah, they're all about this. So, yeah. Thanks so much for listening. For Dan Regester and Rob Fox, I'm Jake Goldman.
You just got sauce served.